All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there, and yours truly right here. Note to Steve Perry, Phil Collins is performing his concert dates sitting on a stool or walking around with a cane. Yes, that's correct. Phil Collins, who embarked on his Not Dead Yet tour last year, will complete the final leg of his tour in October when he does a slew of dates here in the United States. Smartly, they're not pounding Phil into the ground, although that October schedule looks to be pretty rigorous for a guy who's got nerve damage, who suffered from depression at one point, who battled alcohol and has been sober for 3 years, apparently. In addition to the fact that he's got arthritis, he can no longer play drums. I believe he can only hold a drumstick in one hand, or the hand that doesn't work properly, he cannot hold the stick for very long. He is on stage. It's kind of sad to see him sometimes sort of slumped over in the chair singing, but he's still singing, and he's bringing a lot of joy to the fans who are going to see him perform. Phil Collins was on a mega hot streak in the 1980s, from maybe about 1979 to 1995 or so. Phil Collins was everywhere on your radio, either solo or with the band Genesis. And I've never seen anything like that in the music industry. I mean, he basically had two careers going on simultaneously, and he was able to do both. And along the way, I mean, worked with a bunch of people, doing things like playing drums with Eric Clapton and so forth. So Collins was the hottest guy on the planet, and a lot of people had Phil burnout for a while. And this kind of reminds me of what Journey did for a number of years during the 80s. But, you know, unfortunately, Steve Perry kind of flamed out around 87 or 88, was offered to, you know, hey, we'll accommodate you if you want to come back and tour with the band after Trial by Fire. Perry turned it down, which is a real interesting thing. They told Perry he could kind of sit on a stool. I think it's in Jonathan Cain's book as well, if you want to check that out. And he refused, which again, the video I did a couple of days ago talking about how I think they just had another album they had to get out there for Columbia, and then that was it. I know everybody's going to say, well, how do you fake degenerative hip condition or disease and so forth? I'm not saying fake that, but it seemed like an out or an opportunity for him. And watching Phil Collins delight the fans that love Phil Collins, it's just really sad that Steve Perry doesn't have that same connection with his fans. Now, is Phil Collins singing as well as he used to? No. No, he's probably 50, 60, maybe 70% of what he once was. And they do drop some things down, maybe one step for him. Fortunately for Phil, he's not singing the Dirty Dozen, so his catalog is probably a little easier to sing than the Journey catalog. Nonetheless, Steve Perry, I think, at 50% would delight a whole bunch of fans, even if he had to sit on a stool. He could just take the Foolish Heart video and just make that an entire concert for people, and I think everybody would get it. They'd understand, and they'd accept Steve, because if they can accept Phil, I guarantee you they would do the same for Steve Perry. All right, that's my video. Just a quick little analysis comparison thing there. Phil Collins, again, he's not dead yet. His tour recommences in October. Check those tour dates out. It's a pretty rigorous schedule, but Phil apparently is up for it. All right, I'll be back with more soon. Stay tuned.